Welcome to Your Family's Health, the program that focuses on healthcare issues with unique and different modalities for taking charge of your health today. Experts talk weekly with our continuing roster of guests from around the country and right here in Nassau County to keep you up to date on the latest health issues and trends. Take care of your mind, body, and soul. Spend the next half hour with the voice of Nassau Community College, 90.3 WHPC, and get on the journey to better health.
Hello and welcome to Your Family's Health. My name is Dr. Jeanine Cook-Garard from the nursing department here at Nassau Community College. And today we're talking about whether or not cell phones and all of this talk about 5G connectivity can really affect our health. I'd like to introduce you to a non-for-profit group called Citizen for 5G Awareness. Our guests today are technology founder Chrissy Calabrese and Feete, a member of the planning members team. Chrissy and Sue, welcome to Your Family's Health on the voice of Nassau Community College, 90.3 WHPC. Welcome, both of you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So let's start talking about what is 5G and what does it have to do with our health?
So 5G is the fifth generation wireless. So let's go back. 1G happened around the 1980s, and that was the analog radios with analog radio communications. Then we had 2G, which brought us digital use of signals like texting and image transfers on cell phones. Then we had 3G, which increased our speed, and now 4G includes video conferencing, gaming, and high-definition TV. 5G promises to increase speed and promises to bring us driverless cars and the Internet of Things. So that is the basic difference between the Gs. However, 5G is also a different wavelength of transmission, and that's the most important thing for us to learn about.
To be concerned with.
Right.
So where do I see 5G technology? Tell me, what do I see this technology?
5G technology is being rolled out right now in major cities. New York City purports to have it, and some other cities.
And is that in cell phones? Is that in those towers that we see in our streets? Where is 5G, or where do I know it is?
5G is being rolled out on our streets,
okay,
in our communities, every 2 to 10 houses, because the 5G millimeter waves cannot travel far. They're very powerful, but they cannot travel far. They can travel through anything. Verizon and T-Mobile boast that they can go through any width of concrete wall, but it can go through everything. That's us too, and they're placed very close outside our homes, on lampposts, on telephone poles, or they put up their own 40-foot poles. It's not the giant antennas that you see for normal,
okay,
that are put far away from our homes. These are right in front of our homes. And
yes.
5G has been militarized. That's where it was discovered. That's where all of the technology has been developed by the military to inflict pain on the battlefield.
So let me just back up and explain about 2G, 3G, and 4G, and then we'll go into 5G. Okay, so 2G, 3G, and 4G are waves that are at least a foot or longer, and they travel quite far. So that's where we see those big cell towers that are reaching out into our cell phones. Actually, they're really quite far away from us. Those waves pass through our body. They actually do. 2G, 3G, and 4G are passing through our body.
Right.
And now 5G, however, is said to only go onto our skin. But it has really adverse side effects for the skin, the eye, and metabolic signaling through skin sensors. So
is this 5G in our usual mobile devices? If you have a cell phone, is this 5G being transmitted through us, or can we see a lot of different physiologic changes because of the 5G transmission?
Well,
with cell phone use.
Right now, there's a lot of confusion between 5G and 4G technology because many confuse 5G or fifth generation technology with the 5 gigahertz frequencies used in wireless technology. So oftentimes our cell phones say 5G. That means 5 gigahertz.
5 gigahertz.
That is not the 5G technology that we are talking about, the fifth generation technology.
So explain the difference.
So for 1G, 2G, 3G, 4G, we're going from megahertz to up to 6 gigahertz. That's the max that we go in the spectrum. For the fifth generation technology, 5G, we're going to go from 10 gigahertz all the way up to 300 gigahertz in the spectrum. So the FCC has now auctioned off some of this spectrum because the FCC actually owns the airwaves. Mm-hmm. So they
what is FCC?
The Federal Communications Commission in our government. They're the ones who are in charge of the airwaves when AM and FM came into being.
Correct.
And they're the ones who are in charge of those. And the government owns those airwaves. So the only way for the corporate industry to get a hold of those airwaves is to buy them from the government. So they were auctioned off. And so right now the 5G auctioning is kind of low in the megahertz, and a little bit in the gigahertz area, but not that much. So T-Mobile is going to use 600 megahertz to 700 megahertz. AT&T will use 700 megahertz, and Sprint is saying they're going to use 2.5 gigahertz for their 5G rollout. And Verizon hasn't said what they're going to use just yet. So there's a lot of confusion right now between what 4G is and 5G. Basically, what you have on your cell phones right now, if it's saying 5G, you have 5 gigahertz.
Okay.
It's not the 5G that we are talking about. The 5G that we are talking about is going to bring us driverless cars and the Internet of Things. And that requires a massive infrastructure.
So is it something that I'm concerned with at all, being a cell phone user, the 5G? No, that's what you're saying.
Being a cell phone user, you need to be concerned a lot right now about cell phone use, how to use your cell phone safely, and how. So, if you would like, I can talk to you about that. That is different though than the 5G issue. Mm-hmm. So, using your cell phone right now is radiating you. Our cell phones, the industry has made it so that the cell phones were only tested on a mannequin's head of a 6'2" male. They put in some kind of fluid that's supposed to be our complex brain. They put in a stick inside that fluid, and they put the cell phone with a spacer next to the head to see if there was any heating. The industry, the FCC has only said that if it heats up, if anything heats up, like a microwave oven, if we're cooking ourselves, then it's dangerous. So, however, the science has really caught up and moved way beyond this and found that, so we're talking about thermal heating as opposed to non-thermal heating. Your cell phone may not be heating you, but it is radiating you. There are dangers to children with cell phones. Children's skulls are thinner, and their brains have more fluid. A child's bone marrow can actually absorb 10 times more radiation than an adult. If you are keeping your cell phone on your body anywhere, and I'm talking to all the people who keep their cell phones when they're going for a walk and they have their their headset on and they have their cell phones near their abdomen. They have their cell phones on their back. If they have their cell phones in their bra, they are finding cancers all over the place now in those areas. Your cell phone is radiating you right now.
You're listening to Your Family's Health in the voice of Nassau Community College, 90.3 WHPC. My name is Dr. Jeanine Cook-Garard from the Nursing Department here at Nassau Community College. And today we're talking with Chrissy Calabrese and Sue Feete, who are from the Citizen for 5G Awareness, which is all about educating people about the potential harm of 5G connectivity. Mm-hmm. So this is very interesting. We're talking about the cell phone use. Because I know even when you're jogging and you're walking, there are apps that are connected to how many steps you take and the calories that you're burning. So what you're suggesting is that you should not run, or the cell phone should never be carried on your body.
You should not carry. I would never carry my cell phone on my body, and I never do. But if you are going to, and you have an app, what you can do to keep yourself safe, you can still run that app, but turn off your Bluetooth and turn off your Wi-Fi. Go into settings, turn off your Bluetooth and your Wi-Fi, and put it on airplane mode. Your app will still run for you. So you'll still have your app running, but you are not then radiating yourself. Me, myself, I wouldn't do it. But if you are really interested in seeing that app, doing that, that is the safest thing to do. If you have a child and they have an iPad and you want them to read a book, download the book safely away from the child. Download the book. Turn off the Bluetooth again and turn off the Wi-Fi. Put it on airplane mode and have your child read that book downloaded. That's the safest way to use those devices.
So tell me, what has been the findings that you have? I know you've done some research. What has been the effects of this 5G on the population? And I know we're very much into technology. We're trying to keep up with what's the latest and the greatest in technology. What has been some of the effects on the 5G, on the body, and on people across the lifespan?
So before Sue says anything, I just want to go into that. Now, 5G hasn't really been tested that much. How do you like that? So they're going to roll it out without even being tested. But Sue is going to read off to you what we have found with 2G, 3G, and 4G already. So these are cell phones, all of our wireless devices that we're actually using, and she's going to read off the health effects.
But before we get there, you're talking about 4G and 5G in terms of its intensity. That is the differentiation, 4G to 5G. That is the intensity of the waves that we're talking?
So let's imagine in our minds waves.
Right.
So for 4G, we have these long stretches of waves, maybe a foot and a half stretch of waves. For 5G, we have millimeter waves and centimeter waves.
So they're smaller but more potent.
They're smaller and supposed to be more potent, and they don't travel far. So this is why we're having problems, is they're putting these cell towers now right in our neighborhoods.
I got you.
So that they can get right into our houses. So they do not travel as far as those nice long ones that are coming, and they're not so nice.
Right, right.
Coming from those big cell towers that we see.
So in terms of, and we're going to get to you about the effects on the body, but in terms of purchasing homes, in terms of real estate, location. I know that we're talking about location in terms of person, but should I be concerned about the sites, the cell sites in over my home? Tell me about that.
Well, we're glad you mentioned that, because right now in Nassau County, you have 3 towns that have actually held off placing these small cells near their homes.
Wow.
For that very reason.
Can you
have
tell
Flower
us?
Hill,
Plandome,
and Lake Success. And they are being sued by Extenet right now. As soon as you say no, they have the right, the cell phone companies, the FCC has given the cell phone companies the right to sue the towns for not abiding by the FCC rules. But those towns have held it off. Plandome, Flower Hill, and Plandome especially. I know that it's a wealthy neighborhood, and they're concerned about their property values. And
so we're talking about health disparities here.
Exactly.
Okay.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
So you're saying the difference is, the homes that do not have this technology are usually higher in cost because they're in the wealthier areas. Is that what you're alluding to?
What's happening is the wealthy people are starting to get a knowledge of this, and they understand that this is going to bring down their property value. So they're holding it back, and they're fighting very hard not to keep it near their $1 million houses and their multi-million-dollar houses.
And the irony is that their houses are not as close to these antennas, these 5G antennas, as in lower income neighborhoods where they are as close, and we have photos, as 20, 30 feet from these people's homes. And no one wants to buy a house with an antenna 30 feet from it, or 50.
So tell me, I know you have the areas where there is less of this 5G technology. What are the areas where it's most prevalent, the 5G technology? What do you see there?
It's being rolled out in the town of Huntington right now. Okay. And the town of Huntington has the contract with Verizon. They signed it in 2016. They told the residents of Huntington, we are residents of Huntington, nothing about it. And the founder of our group, Citizens for 5G Awareness, literally woke up one morning and there was a brand new pole with an antenna right outside her backyard. And we have something called an acoustometer, which measures electromagnetic frequency radiation. She put that on her son's pillow in his bedroom, and it was in a dangerous zone.
Really?
Yes. So she had to get special expensive paint the inside of her bedrooms, ceiling. This is a very complicated issue. And if I may go back to President Clinton, who signed this FCC Act of 1996. It has a section called Section 704, you can look it up, that gives the telecoms complete control, and it says that we are not allowed to consider health effects in the placement of these antennas, and municipalities are not allowed to turn down any application for any reason concerning health or environmental effects.
Incredible. It
says it in this. We've been trying to get it overturned. We have made little progress, but everyone needs to know this, that their township will say, we have nothing to do with this, it's federal. But there are many things they can do. And they can go to our website. Or
what is your website?
Citizensfor5gawareness.org. They can go to 5gcrisis.com, or they can go to americansforresponsibletech.org and find out the truth, because all media, except perhaps local, is controlled by the telecoms through their advertising. So no one is going to have this type of program which you are airing on the national networks, because they get millions of dollars for this. And it's reported that the rollout of 5G is a $12 trillion endeavor. What I keep thinking is that the telecoms keep trying to make us think that they are a utility. They are not a utility. Wireless is not a utility. You don't have multiple companies vying for your water, vying to put electricity in your house. No, this is not something that is vital and like gas, electric.
For life. Yeah.
Exactly. But it is addictive.
Well, I think your audience, especially the students here and even younger students, might be interested to know that the 5G technology is complex and likely to be very costly, accompanied by privacy concerns, and will also consume significant amounts of energy, contrary to global climate goals.
So what does that mean in terms of our global, does that any connection to global warming? Talk to me about that.
Absolutely. So, unfortunately, the telecoms haven't been forthcoming in saying how much energy it does take to power those cell towers and to power the small cells. And it takes a huge amount of energy. There will be almost 100,000 satellites, maybe more, up in the air for 5G. On the ground in the United States, they're talking about 300,000 small cells that have to be powered. Mm-hmm. Who's going to power these? How are we going to... Is it going to be coal? Is it going to be nuclear? I mean, we have a big disconnect now between technology and how that technology is actually consuming energy.
I want to get back to what you were saying about the meter that your friend used to determine how much she was getting in her room. How do you get these what is it called again?
It's called an acoustometer, and you get it online or at EMF. I forget the name of it.
LessEMF.com.
LessEMF.com.
Yes.
And I can actually take this meter, and I'm looking at it now. It's a very small meter, and I can put it in my bedroom to see how much I'm able to, how much raise, if you will.
Yes.
I am getting in my house.
And this is sometimes the only thing that convinces people that there is a problem with radiation, because you can't see it.
Right.
You can't hear it, taste it, smell it. But with an acoustometer, we have several in our little group, and we will come and go through your home and show you your smart meter is emitting this at all times, your Wi-Fi.
Right.
All the different places in your home where there are dangerous levels.
And what is a good level? What is an acceptable level? Or it should be negative?
So on this acoustometer is regulated according to the Bioinitiative Report.
Okay.
So the Bioinitiative Report was put out in 2012 and extends all the way until 2019. And the acoustometer then will... It has sound and sight.
Okay.
So if you turned it on, it would go off very high in here, most likely. There might be some Wi-Fi going on in here, and it'll capture all of those waves.
Right.
However, we need to tell you that 5G cannot be measured by an acoustometer, and it cannot be measured by any meters that we know of so far. So we are measuring right now, what we are measuring is in the megahertz to the 6 gigahertz level with this acoustometer. And we have found the following. We have 2-inch binders of the following health effects just from those millimeter waves. And Sue will read them off if you don't mind.
Okay, let me just take a break. You're listening to Your Family's Health on the voice of Nassau Community College 90.3 WHPC. My name is Dr. Jeanine Cook-Garard from the Nursing Department here at Nassau Community College. And today we're talking with Chrissy Calabrese and Sue Feete, who are Citizens for 5G Awareness, which is all about educating people about the potential harm of 5G connectivity. So tell us some of the effects on the body from the 5G.
There have been thousands of studies done internationally on the effects on fetal and newborn development, the effects on young children, brain tumors, parotid gland tumors, other malignancies, effect on your DNA. It can actually alter your DNA. Neurological and cognitive effects on male fertility. Male fertility has been drastically coming down in the past several decades. Electromagnetic sensitivity is becoming quite a problem. The effects on implanted medical devices. And when I see these lariats that hold cell phones against people, especially against old people, against their heart.
Yeah.
If they have any kind of implant, they're in trouble.
Yeah.
And there are thousands of these peer-reviewed, independent scientific studies that are all being discounted by the telecoms and by our own government, because the telecoms have so many lobbyists that there's one for every single elected official in our entire government, perhaps even more than that. And the reason why I became involved in our little group was because after my mastectomy, my doctor told me, avoid electromagnetic frequency radiation. Then I hear about 5G being placed outside all of our homes, and we are assured that it can come through anything. What shall cancer survivors do? Should we die? What do they expect us to do? Or electrosensitive people, what do they you can avoid in your home. You don't have to have Wi-Fi. You can have the smart meter taken out, hopefully. But what can you do if it's outside your home being broadcast?
So what can we do? I mean, we talked about this and all of the things that it can do to the body, to the development of our children, what it does in terms of wreaking havoc on us physiologically, probably neurologically, in every system of our body. What can we do? What are some of the things that we can do?
Well, we can. Right now, we're raising awareness. We're trying to get the word out to the public that wireless technology, 5G, is just another level of wireless technology placed upon 2G, 3G, and 4G, which we already know are causing harm. And 5G is going to cause even more harm. So we're going to be living in a soup of wireless technology. So what can we do? We can contact our Congress men or women,
okay,
and we can ask them to ask the FCC to upgrade their regulations. Right now, the regulations for the Telecommunications Act of 1996, those standards were set on science from the 1980s, and we would like them to update the science and bring the science up to 2019.
And they just refused to do that within the last month.
Yes.
The FCC refused to update it.
So we're we are trying to get our Congress and Senate on board. And on the local level, it is very important for people to go to their town hall meetings and start raising awareness, because Plandome and Flower Hill had to hear about the town of Huntington, and what was going on over there, because they're standing up against it. And so it's important that the word get out that this is not something you want outside your house.
So you would discourage the use of cell phones, particularly in our children, in the common population, to carrying the cell phone on them?
Well, the American Pediatrics Academy has said that there should be no cell phone use between the ages of 0 and 3. And
no devices.
No devices. Cell phones, iPads, whatever, between the age of 0 to 3. And they are also talking about restricting the time to like a half an hour for a week.
Yeah.
And we've got like the kids on these devices all the time. So you have to be really careful and look it up.
Yeah. I'm sorry we're running out of time. Such a captivating topic. If you had to summarize this in 2 words, what would you say? 2 words, 2 or 3 words. What would you say?
Become aware.
Become aware. Thank you so much for being here, Chrissy, Calabrese, and Feete from the Citizens for 5G Awareness. This is Dr. Jeanine Cook-Garard from the Nursing Department here at Nassau Community College, and we would like to thank you, the listening audience, for listening to this week's edition of Your Family's Health.
We'd like to get your feedback on your family's health. Send your comments by emailing them to whpc@ncc.edu. Podcasts of today's show are available on iTunes, Android Podcasts, and Spreaker. This program was produced at the studios of Nassau Community College in cooperation with the Nursing Department. Join us next week for another edition of Your Family's Health on the voice of Nassau Community College, 90.3 WHPC.